What's good YouTube? My name is Taylor and I would like to welcome you to my channel. This is obviously the first video that I ever published on this platform, so I'm pretty stoked about taking on this new journey. And just a quick heads up before I talk about the workout, I wanted to take a second and talk about my channel. So this channel will mainly evolve around fitness, anything regarding training, nutrition, supplementation, recovery, how to structure training, just anything in that nature. I want to share my knowledge with you guys and also share my fitness journey with you, and hopefully you will get some information out of this, some insight, and hopefully you will enjoy the videos. So starting with the workout, obviously from the title you can see it is a push training, meaning if you follow a push-pull leg training split yourself, you can just replicate or do that training for your own. If you're following a different style of training, I would not recommend doing this because it would just mess up your whole weekly schedule. And also something I did not show in this video, which is how I start my workouts, was I did a 10-minute warm-up on a cardio machine. It can be anything from the bike or treadmill, it doesn't really matter. I just do 10 minutes on like a moderate intensity. It is important that you don't fully exhaust yourself, so you should be able to hold like a slight conversation with a training partner or something. It's just to get the mind ready, the body warm, and just like fire up the system. And also what I did not show was I did warm up my shoulder and rotator cuffs just on the cable. I do this instead of with the dumbbells. So just to go to the cable tower and do some external and internal rotation exercises. I want to do a full video in depth on how to warm up properly before training sessions, like weightlifting sessions. So keep an eye out on that video. So starting with the first exercise I did was incline dumbbell bench press. As most guys struggle with upper chest, it's just the same for me. I know there's a big discussion out there about having different part of your chest, but I do believe there's a fair share in doing different exercises to target different muscle fibers, and also it just keeps the training fun. When you do the incline dumbbell bench press, probably the most important thing is to retract your scapula to keep your shoulders safe. And how you can achieve this position is simply by imagining having a pencil between your shoulder blades and just pinching them together and trying to hold onto that pencil. Also, what I teach people in the gym is just simply when you stand up straight, you're just gonna shrug the shoulders up, push them behind, and then push them down. So you really push the chest up and you create a slight arch in your lower back. And then you just pinch the shoulder blades together, imagining having a pencil between your shoulder blades. Also, before starting this exercise, it's important to put the bench on the right degree, meaning if you have a really strong arch and you would just put the bench on like 30 degrees and then you really arch your lower back, it will mean that your chest is nearly in a flat position and you wouldn't even target it as an incline movement. So if you have a strong arch in your lower back, I would recommend putting the bench up a bit higher, and if you just have a normal arch, it's totally fine to put it on like 30-35 degree angle. So now we can finally start the exercise. Just place the dumbbells on your knees, kick them up with the legs, let the weight falls like slightly against your chest, and let your back fall behind. And when your back touches the bench, you want to make sure that your scapula is retracted, or that you retract it before doing the first repetition. Just as important as the scapular retraction, it is important to tuck in your elbow. And that is simply just imagine doing the T-bar pressing, and then you let your elbow or like your whole arm come a bit forward, so it's not forming a T anymore. Really important with this as well, it's a mistake I did back in the days, is I would let my arm externally rotate when I would do this. Just imagine doing the T-bar pressing, and now you let the elbow come forward. What I would do is also my elbow would come forward in this position. So my arm is in a diagonal line now, and the weight is not evenly distributed over my forearm and my elbow. So when you tuck in the elbows, you want to make sure that your arm stays always in a straight position, so the weight is ideally right above your wrist and right above your elbow. So now we can do the first rep, just thinking about driving your elbows together instead of your hands, because most people will have a better chest activation with that and having a better mind-muscle connection. And you also don't want to fully extend your arm at the top of the movement. You want to make sure that a few centimeters before that you stop the movement, so your elbow is still a little bit bent to keep that joint safe. And when you lower the weight again, for most people I would recommend like when your hands right above your chest or like right next to your chest, to train in a full range of motion, because you don't want to put the hands like too far down because it would be an extreme stretch. You couldn't keep the scapula retracted and you probably will put a lot of strain in your shoulder and maybe injure yourself. So the second exercise I did was a chest press machine. I just prefer this over a flat barbell bench press because the machine is a bit more safer for me. It feels better on my shoulder, but feel free to do something like a flat barbell bench press. With the chest press machine, probably the most important thing is to put the seat on the right height. So you want to make sure that in the neutral position, when you place your hands on the handles are right around like mid-chest height or something around like nipple height. And also, you want to make sure that your hands are not too far outside or too far inside, meaning when you place your hands on the handle, your wrist, your forearm and your elbow should be in a straight line. From there, again, just retract your scapula, place your feet firmly on the ground so you can generate some force from there. Take a deep breath, drive through your elbows again, not fully extending the arm, and then just lowering the weight. So when you do this exercise, what I found is that a lot of times when I would lower the weight again, I would let my front delt and my triceps take over. So just for you, maybe lower the weight and then really try to connect with your chest, always just working with your chest. Also, what you want to make sure is that whether it is a weight stack or it is plate loaded, you don't let the weight fully come down and then just press up again. So you don't want to lose the tension on the muscle. You always want to keep the tension on the muscle. So make sure just a few centimeters before the weight touches the ground or whatever, or the weight stack touches the other weight again, make sure that you pause and press up again. So third exercise I did was a side lateral dumbbell raise. I don't do strictly all chest movements and all shoulder movements like after another. I try to mix it up a little bit to keep it fun and also that I don't get too fatigued for one muscle group. Probably the most common mistake I see in the gym is that people raise their hand up too far high, meaning they will come up like maybe on their head level or even higher. But the thing is, there's a lot of stuff going on in your shoulder joint and it's not safe to do that. So ideally it would be that your elbow is just right on the same level as your shoulder. That is more than enough. And when you do this exercise, just think of the dumbbell as a water bottle that you pour out some water from. So that means your hand will be a bit tilted and your pinky comes up. So I would like to do this seated instead of standing. So I would just let my pinky come up a little bit, tilt the hands, make sure that I don't shrug up my traps, so I keep them down low. And from there, instead of moving my hands up, I think about driving my elbows up, really targeting that middle delt, and that's it. You don't need a lot of weight. Instead of like moving a lot of weight, you try to get a good mind muscle connection and you just move the weight from there. I like to do these on high volume because I feel like my delt just reacts to this better instead of doing like heavy weight in just a few reps. So I do 5 sets with at least 10 reps for this exercise. The fourth exercise I did was a shoulder machine press. Again, you could do these with dumbbells, but I just feel more safe on the machine. And when you do this, again, you want to put the seat on the right height, meaning in the neutral position, the handle should be right above your delt or just a little bit high, but not too far low because it's just an uneasy position to press the weight up. Again, here the same, you want to tuck your elbows in, meaning in the neutral position, your elbow comes forward and your elbow, your forearm and your wrist build a straight line, and from there just push the weight up, not fully extending the arm again, but a few centimeters before that stopping, coming the full weight down before the weight stack hits the other weight again, and then just performing reps from there. I don't know why a lot of people say you have to stop at the ears. This is a limited range of motion, so you want to come down the full weight and then press up again. A common mistake I see here is again doing some internal rotation. So people would press the weight up and then when they come down, they let their elbow go behind and their hand come in front. Again, this will put your arm in the diagonal line and it is bad for your shoulder health. So fifth exercise I did was decline cable fly. So put up the cable really high and do the movement from the top to the bottom. You could do this in like a neutral middle position. It is just something I prefer. So again, just retract the scapula, keep them tight and locked in together. And this is a fly movement. So you want to make sure your arm is nearly as straight as possible with a slight bend in the elbow. You come in together and again with a pencil, just imagine having a pencil between your chest. And when you bring in the elbows in together instead of the hands, just try to squeeze the chest as hard as you can, trying to hold onto that pencil while doing the movement. Again, you don't want to overextend the stretch with your shoulder, so right when your arms are next to your body, it is probably more than enough, and then you can do the next repetition. This again is a fly movement. It's more kind of an isolation exercise, so you don't need as much weight, so make sure you do a little bit less weight, but really focus on the contraction in the chest. So the last exercise I did was for triceps. It is the skull crusher movement. I do this kind of as a compound movement instead of like an isolation rope exercise. I do have a different delts and arm day later in the week, so I don't do too much movements for the tricep on my push training. So make sure that I really hit my tricep with one movement. So when you do this, probably the biggest mistake or like the most common mistake I see in the gym is that people train in a limited range of motion. Meaning they would put the bar up, like fall on the bench, and then they would just lower the weight to their forehead and then come up again. But this is not like the full function of our triceps. So what you should do is let your arms be driven back a little bit, be driven back, is that English correct? And then you perform the movement from there. So instead of doing this, you want to make sure that your elbow comes back a little bit, like let it fall behind, and do the movement like this, really focusing on the triceps, because one of the functions of the triceps is always also to bring our arm behind our head, like bring it to our back. So when you do this, also really important is the grip width. So you don't want to put your hands too far inside or outside. So normally like a shoulder width grip is fine. Maybe something a bit wider is all okay as well, because if you put in the hands too far inside, you will probably like really flare the elbows, and this will put a lot of strain on them. So when you do this exercise, shoulder width grip, just come up, let the elbows be driven back, rotate them inwards a little bit, and always try to keep the arms in a straight line while performing this movement. So this is it, guys. I hope you found this informative. This was a new experience for me as well, because it's a lot of information to put in a really short video. If you still have any questions, feel free to put them in the comment section. I will also put my Instagram handle here or in the description box. You can just shoot me a DM there, ask me anything. I can just answer it over Instagram video really quick. It's just a bit easier and faster to clarify things. And yeah, hopefully you found this informative and a bit of interesting. I would highly appreciate it if you leave a thumbs up and maybe subscribe. Otherwise, in the future I will film all of my workouts and do it with a commentary style and upload them here on YouTube, so you could just use this workout routine as your own. And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed it, and otherwise I see you in the next one.